Good day. My name is Chief Strongblood, St. Vincent and the Grenadines' favorite and most hated son, the Diaspora Machismo. My people, I hope that your day is going fine. I hope that your day is being beautiful. I hope that you are experiencing the blessings of the Most High as you utilize this gift of 24 hours that constitute this blessed Thursday. Today we are going to speak on the topic, I am special, I am favored by Yah. I am special, I am favored by Yah. Let us start by approaching the throne of the Most High and thank Him for this opportunity where we can share His words. O great, supreme, and sovereign Most High. Father, as I come to you today to speak to your people on this simple topic, I am special, I am favored by you, Most High. Put only the things you have placed upon my heart, upon my lips. And Most High, send your Holy Spirit to continue to guide my thoughts and to protect my thoughts from the evil of the enemies who will try to put their own words in my mouth. In Yahushua's name I say, let it be done. My people, what I want you to do right now is to grab your Bible, turn the pages to Isaiah chapter 54, scroll down to verse 17, and that will be the basis of the text we are going to deal with today. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17. It says, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that rise up against me in judgment, I or you shall condemn. This is the heritage of Jacob. In some scriptures it says, this is the heritage of the children of God. My people, this text is very clear. It is simple, as the word of the Most High should always be clear, simple, and easy to understand. It says, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that rise up against me I shall condemn. Every tongue that rise up against me in judgment I shall condemn. Why? Because this is the heritage of Jacob. My people, all through the scriptures, there is a common thread that runs through the entire scriptures, and that is the Most High love for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their descendants. Especially the descendants of Jacob. We know that Jacob had 12 sons. And those 12 sons are honored by the Most High and were given special privileges and favors. These sons are referred to as the Israelites. If you remember carefully, the scripture says that after Jacob had wrestled with the angel and prevailed, the Most High saw it fit to change his name to Israel, because he had wrestled with God and he prevailed. Not that he won, but he prevailed. He passed the test that the Most High had for him. In that, he held on even though he was inflicted with pain, even though he was no match for the angel who he wrestled with. He held on and he asked that the angel bless him, and he was blessed. But before Jacob, there was Abraham, who chose to honor the Most High with all of his being, even risk death to ensure that he kept the laws, the statutes, and the precept of the Most High. My people, because of Abraham's faithfulness, Isaac and Jacob were blessed, and they were looked over and taken care of by the Most High. It was the Most High personal mission to ensure that the descendants of Abraham receive his love, receive his blessings, and receive his favor. My people have to remember that all through the scriptures, the covenant that the Most High made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob always come to the fore. The Most High made a covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and that covenant was simple. I will always love the Israelites. I will always be the God of the Israelites, and the Israelites will always be my people. That is the covenant of the Most High. But there was also another covenant where the Most High had promised to bless the Israelites with favor, protection, and good fortune, but only if we are faithful to Him. So the blessings, the favors, and the gifts of the Most High was conditional that we are faithful to Him. That's why Isaiah was able to say, no weapons formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that rise up against me in judgment I shall condemn, for this is the heritage of Yahweh's servant Jacob. People, turn to me. Turn with me to Psalms 91, and let us take our time and peruse what the psalmist had to say in Psalms 91. This is the psalmist David. He was reflecting and reminiscing on the glory and the wonder and the beauty of being faithful to the Most High. This is how he opened the Psalms. He that dwelleth in the sacred place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. In this Psalms, David was using a lot of figurative languages to express his experience with the Most High. He that dwell in the sacred place of the Most High. You may ask, what is the sacred place of the Most High? It is not something that is tangible that you can go to and open a door and enter. It is an attitude, a behavior, a lifestyle. That is the sacred place of the Most High. And this is where one who chose to honor the Most High decides that come what may, I am going to be faithful to the Most High. I'm going to keep His laws, His statutes, His ordinances. I'm going to follow the instructions of the Most High prophets. Here is where the seat of the Most High land. Here is where the sacred place of the Most High is. When you have made a covenant with the Most High and have pledged with your life that you are going to always honor the Most High, you are going to acknowledge and keep His laws, His statutes, His ordinances, and you are going to be obedient to the word of the Most High prophets. So this is where David now resides. He dwells in the sacred place of the Most High, and he abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Under the shadow of the Almighty, there is protection, there is safety. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him will I trust. Remember, people, David was anointed to be the king of Israel, the Spirit of the Most High will have been removed from King Saul and was placed on David, and an evil spirit possessed Saul. Saul was the beneficiary of the Spirit of the Most High that was placed on David, because when the evil spirit that possessed Saul troubled him, it was David who played the harp and chase away that evil spirit and bring calm to Saul. It was David who was blessed of the Most High and was anointed to be king over Israel, that now resides in Saul's house and fought in Saul's army and was victorious in every battle he encountered. This is the same David who is writing these psalms and giving his experience, because when Saul discovered that Samuel had anointed David king of Israel, Saul became David's biggest enemy, because it was Saul's intention to hand down the kingdom of Israel to his son. But if the Most High have rejected Saul, he also rejected Saul's son. And now Saul was trying to kill David. He have employed the resources of Israel to the destruction of his servant, the Most High anointed king of Israel, David. So for many years, David was destitute, a man without a nation, a man without a home, a man without a people, and he had to be running from Saul, because Saul have now employed all of the resources of Israel to kill his servant David, the anointed of the Most High. My people, so when David penned this psalm, he was reflecting and recounting all of the trouble he experienced when he was exiled from his home, when he was banished from his king, when he was not allowed to fellowship with the people of Israel, the people he loved, the people he honored, the people he adored. So when David was hiding out in the caves and in the mountain and sleeping under the dew, the Most High was his refuge and his safe place, his fortress. The Most High remained his God. And here is when David was the most faithful, because he had to rely and put his trust in the Most High. Surely he shall deliver me from the snares of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. What does this mean? That the Most High had delivered him and will continue to deliver him from his enemy, from the snares, the plots, the conspiracy, the traps that his enemies will put to snare him, to kill him, to destroy him, to harm him, to maim him. And even when David was sleeping in the caves, even when David was running from Saul, even when there were times when he was poorly nourished, he never got ill, because the Most High protected him from the pestilence. That is why in this season of coronavirus, I was defiant. I refused to wear a mask unless it determined whether I could go into a store or not. I refused to be vaccinated. I refused to be tested, because I know that the Most High will protect his faithful children from the noisome pestilence. Any sort of form of illness, the Most High have our back. He shall cover us with his feather, and under his wing shall we trust. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night. You shall not be afraid of those creatures that find power and secrecy in the night, that will come to you and try to destroy you under the cover of darkness. Because you know you dwell under the secret place of the Most High, and you abide under the shadow of the Almighty, where you will always find safety. Nor shall you be afraid of those who come before you with weapons to fight against you, because you know the Most High have his back. Even when the odds are against you, you know the Most High is going to work it out to ensure that you are going to be victorious. This is the heritage of Israel. This is the heritage of the children and the descendants of the children of the transatlantic slave trade. The Most High have our back each time we examine or exhibit faithfulness to the Most High. He will ensure that we are always protected from our enemies. He will ensure that we are always protected from illnesses. Not a pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor destruction that wasteth at noonday. The Most High has promised that he's going to take care of us. If you go down to verse 7, this is what it says. Of your enemies, when they come against you, 10,000 will fall at thy side. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at their right hands, but they shall not come near your dwelling. People, remember, the Most High sent Gideon and 300 men to the battle against an army of hundreds of thousands of people. He said, Gideon, I am sending you into war with an army of 300 men. I want each man to equip themselves with a torch in a right hand and a trumpet in their left. And when I give you the signal, go into the midst of your enemies with your torch and blow the trumpet, and I will do the rest. 1,000 will fall at your sides and 10,000 at your right hand, but they will not be able to come at near your dwelling. My people, when your enemies come up against you, always remember that the Most High is going to work without. For in verse 8 it says, only with thine eyes shall you look and behold the reward of the wicked. So when the wicked come at you and try to do you harm, be faithful, hold fast. Know that the Most High is going to give you the opportunity and the privilege to see the reward of the wicked. Why? Because you have made the Lord, which is your refuge, even the Most High, your habitation. There shall no evil befall you, neither shall the plague come near your dwelling. There shall be no evil would be able to befall you, neither the plagues, the coronavirus, the Ebola virus, cancer, heart troubles, high blood pressure, diabetes, None of these plagues will ever affect you, because you have made the Most High the place in which you dwell. People, for the Most High shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep you in all of your ways. Not some of your ways, but in all of your ways. You will be able to tread upon lion and adder, because we know the lion is the most fiercest creature in the jungle. It is impossible for a man to confront a lion and win. He have to go there with a gun. Not even a sword will protect him from a lion. Because if you are going to confront a lion, you must be a great distance away from the lion and be able to launch an attack on the lion with a weapon from great distance. Otherwise, that lion is going to tear you to pieces. And other, a very poisonous beast, if he lands you, that will be your doom. But the Most I have said, you will be able to tread upon lions and adder, tread them under your feet. The long lion and the dragon, you will trample under your feet. People, when you see a young lion, every pride is taken over by a young lion. A young lion is who challenged the leader of the pride. And the leader of the pride is normally a well-seasoned veteran of combat. But there is always a young lion that have ambition, that have strength, youth, and vigor on his side. And he is able to go up against the seasoned veteran and defeat him. He's not, when the Most I say, you will tread upon the young lion, he's not meaning, he's not speaking about a baby lion. He's speaking about a healthy, strong, vigorous, vicious male lion that is able to defeat the leader of the pride. You will tread upon the young lion, the strong, vigorous lion, and the dragon, those fire-breathing demons that will come against you. You will tread them beneath your feet. Why? Because the Most High has set his love upon me, and he will deliver me. He will set me on high, because I know the name of the Most High. People, our enemies who have taken away all of our scriptures and keep them for themselves, they have hid the name of the Most High from us. Why? Because they don't want us to get the benefit of all of these things. But the Most High always reveal himself to his people who are faithful. The Most High have revealed himself to his people who are faithful. No more can they hide the name of the Most High from us. Why? Because the Most High have revealed it. His name is Yahweh. So when you call upon the name of Yahweh, he is going to ensure that you are protected, you are provided for, that you experience victory over all of your enemies. My people, for years, we fought to the Most High as God by a title that the Most High have himself have attributed to other beings, to idols. He say, don't make these idols your God. A title we refer to him as God. That is not his name. And when we start praying In desperation, trying to find out the name of the Most High, they say his name is Jehovah. And when we start praying harder to find out the name of the Most High, they didn't tell us his name, they kept it silent. Let me tell you a story. When I was in New York, I was going to what do you call that university and college in New York? Coney, I think. And I was doing a program with them. And in one of the classes, there were a Jewish family. A mother, her son, and her daughter. I could remember their name very well, but I will not call their name here. And I would help them to understand the information that is being presented. So they became close to me. They come early, I would come early, and I will go over the information that was presented the previous day with them and ensure that they understand so that they can move forward. They liked and they respected me. They treat me with respect. We talk about all things, everything we speak about. And one time, in a conversation with the son, I didn't become too close to the daughter because, you know, she was a female, she was married with children, and I don't want anyone to say that I am trying to get involved with the people's daughter. So me and the daughter were very close. Me and the son was even closer. And people, one day we were speaking. I say, what is the right name? I asked him, what is the right name of God, the creator of heaven and earth? And when he was about to answer, the Most High turned my face around. And I saw his mother, his daughter. And when she saw me looking at her, she pulled back. So even though I was helping them academically, even though they were showing me a good face, even though they were leading me to believe that I were their friends and they were my friend, when it come to my salvation, when it come to me prospering in this world, they were not willing to return the favor. I was trying to help them so that they can prosper in this world. But they were not willing to return the favor because they did not want me to know the name, the true name of the Most High. That young man did not tell me the name of the Most High. It took me several years to discover the name of the Most High. But because I was genuine, because I was faithful, and because the Most High knew that I was pushing forward to serve him in spirit and in truth, that name that is so hidden, that name that is hidden from the people of the Most High, from the Israelites, the Most High revealed that name to me. His name is Yahweh, not Jehovah. Yahweh, Y-A-H-U-J-A-H. These people did not want me to know the name of the Most High. Yes, the Jews, they came in and they were acting all pious. I was their friend. I was their favorite in the class. I would take my time when I should be going forward in the lesson and studying the lesson before it is presented in the class. I was taking that time to teach them the day's lesson that came before. And when they miss a class, they had confidence that they can depend on me to teach them the lesson from the day before. But to tell me the name of the Most High, it was a big deal. It was a top secret. They refused to tell me the name of the Most High. But my people, he revealed it to me. That is why there is no challenge that this world can bring me that I will be afraid of, that I will run away from. I will stand firm. And I will confront every challenge head on and face on. That is why I use the word Yahweh so regular. Because I want every Israelite to understand that the name of the Most High is Yahweh. And He is willing to bless and prosper us just because we know His name. My people, they say at the name of the Most High, every knees shall bow and every tongue confess. The tongue of devils, demons, evil spirits, the tongue of every man on earth, the tongue of the earth will confess and say that Yahweh is supreme in power, He's supreme in glory, He's supreme in love, and He's perfect in all of His ways. But if you know, people, this is serious business. In Deuteronomy 28, the Most High has promised to make our enemies to run from us. Deuteronomy 28:7, He said, I will make your enemy flee from you. Deuteronomy 28:8, everything you put your hands to, I will bless when you are faithful to Him. Deuteronomy 28:9, He will make us a holy people unto Himself. And all the people of the earth will know that we are called by the name of Yahweh, and they will be afraid of us. Deuteronomy 28:13, He will make us the head, never the tail. He will always be on top, never beneath. People, when you go over to Deuteronomy 29, verse 5, Deuteronomy 29, verse 5, Moses was telling the people, listen to me. For 40 years, I lead you in the wilderness. Your clothing did not get old, and your shoes did not wear out. So for 40 years, these people were banging about in the wilderness, in the desert, and the clothing that they walk with did not get old. So therefore, the condition of the clothing they left Egypt with remained the same for 40 years. It did not get discolored. It did not get old and tattered. It did not develop holes. Listen to me. The Israelites were walking about like nomads, back and forth across the desert floor for 40 long years, and their shoes did not get old and their shoes did not worn out. The same shoe or the sandals they left Egypt with was the same shoe or sandals they walked through the desert back and forth in the desert for 40 years, and those sandals never wore out. People, these are the same shoes and the same clothing they fought their enemies with. Remember when Sihon, the king of Hebron, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out to fight with them, they defeated those kings in war. These kings had armies. These kings had weapons. And they came out to fight against the Israelites. And the Israelites, without any weapon, fought against these kings, defeat them, took their lands, and gave their lands as an inheritance to Reuben and Gad, the descendants of Reuben and Gad. The same clothes they came out of Egypt with is what they fight these kings of Hebron and Bashan with. The same shoes they wore out of Egypt were the same shoes they engaged in warfare, military warfare with. Yet my people, their clothes never lose its color, was never worn out, never got tattered and old, never get a hole, neither their shoes. Their shoes and their clothing remain the same. Those who dress up to leave Egypt. And I know we are going on the instruction of the Most High. A lot of them would have dressed up, put on their best, and they would have left Egypt in their best. And their best looked like the best for 40 years. Never change. My people, don't forget, because Abraham was faithful to the Most High. When the 5 kings of Salem came and fought against all of the king of the plains, they fought against about 8 kings and defeat them, because it was such a mighty army. Those 5 kings come together was such a mighty army. Even Sodom and Gomorrah got involved and were defeated. And they took all of the possessions of all of these kings of the plain. The 5 kings of Salem were very bad men. They were skilled in the art of warfare. And they had a fierce army that know no fear, that won every battle they fought. When Abraham discovered that his brother, son Lot, his nephew Lot, and his family was taken captive by these 5 kings of Salem and all of their property, Abraham gather up his household, 318 men, and went to fight against these 5 kings, defeated these 5 kings, because Abraham was faithful to the Most High. He kept the Most High laws, his statutes, his ordinance at his command. And the Most High gave him the victory. But that is not all. The king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah said to Abraham, when he bring back all of their possessions that was taken by the 5 kings of Salem, they say, Abraham, take all of the possession. Just give us back the people. We don't care about the goods. We care about the people. Abraham said, listen to me. I will not take anything from your hands. Give some of the things to my men. I, Abraham, will not take anything from your hand, lest you go and say that you make Abraham rich. People, I could remember the first time this passage registered and resonated with me. From that day forward, I never take anything from the hands of anyone who offered it. I never asked anyone for anything, because my Father, the Creator of heaven and earth, the omnipotent power, is able to provide for all of my needs according to his riches and glory, as it is outlined in Matthew chapter 6 verse 28 to 32. He knows all of my needs. He is able to provide for all of my needs according to his riches and glory. My people, I will never dishonor the Most High by going and beg. When I beg and when I receive things at the hands of others, I am saying like Abraham, that to do such is to say that the Most High is unable to take care of all of your needs. If I work for you, you must pay me. If I extend my labor, you must pay me. If I'm going to do something that will benefit you, and you think you should give me something to help you in the process, so that I will not use my own resources, it is fine. But I am not begging for charity. I'm not asking anyone for anything as a charity case, because all I need is life, food to eat, clothes to cover my back, and a safe place to inhabit. That's all I need. All of the other things are excessive. They are blessings that the Most High will give me when the time is right. My people, remember to learn the name of the Most High, because it is in knowing the Most High's name He's going to take care of your needs, and it is being faithful to Him. How can you be faithful to a God whose name you don't know? That is why Christendom is so unfaithful, because they don't know their God. They don't know who they're serving. They don't know who they're worshiping. They are worshiping God. Who is God? A God is anyone you give your devotion to, anyone you give your dedication to, anyone you give your time to. Your cars, your jobs, your wives, your children. These can all be a God. But you have to be able to differentiate. Like the Muslim. When the Muslim address their God, they refer to Him by His name, Allah. And that is the name of the Creator also. But it is the name of the Creator that was given to the descendants of Abraham that came through the lineage of Ishmael. So Allah is the name of the Creator that was given to the Muslim, the descendants of Ishmael, Abraham's firstborn son. Yahweh is the name of the Most High, and it was given to the Israelites, those who were the beneficiary of the legacy of Abraham through the Most High. And that is just the simple fact. He say, I am that I am. Ahia, Asha, Ahia. He say, I am Yahweh Jireh. Not Jehovah Jireh, Yahweh Jireh. Because Jehovah was placed in the Bible to appease us. To appease us. So that we think we know the name of the Most High. I am Yahweh Jireh, the provider of the Israelites. My people, you have to be faithful. You have to remember and know His name. And we have to keep His laws, not just the 10 Commandments, His statutes, His ordinances, His command. A lot of people think you're only doing the 10 Commandments. No. Every instruction that was given by the Most High, we have an obligation to follow. From the way we carry our hair to wearing fringes, we ought to follow them, because they are the laws, the prophets, the precepts, and the ordinances of the Most High. O great supremance of the Most High. Father, I hope that this message will be of benefit to someone. If they are confused, send your Holy Spirit to lend them clarity. In Yahweh's name I say, let it be done. My people, come back. We're going to deal with the Sabbath tomorrow. The proper keeping of the Sabbath as was revealed to me by the Most High. For all of my life, I have been keeping the Sabbath, but not as prescribed by the Most High. I think I was keeping the Sabbath. And you know, along that way I had hints about Sabbath keeping. But I followed the masses, but now I'm doing it correctly. People, have a good day. Talk to you soon.